It is the third week of September, and we have three big reasons to celebrate here on Dallas Cowboys Overtime, here on StarTelegram.com. Number one, the Texas Rangers season is almost over. Number two, the Dallas Cowboys are no longer winless. And number three, it's no longer 115 degrees. I am Fort Worth Star-Telegram sports columnist Mac Engel, and I'm joined by that beautiful man opposite me, Mr. Clarence E. Hill Jr., who was in Los Angeles to witness the miracle. Cowboys win at AT&T Stadium West, 20-17 over the San Diego Chargers. Just to clarify, I refuse to call them the LA Chargers. They should never have left San Diego. You probably should never have left LA and the beach, Clarence, because it's beautiful there all the time and you're on the expense account. We don't need to get into that. Cowboys are 1-1, coming back home for a 3-game homestand. Don't get to say that very much in the NFL. Clarence, your initial thoughts from the 20-17 blowout win over the Rams.
Well, you're bringing up my expenses. You sound like a coworker of ours. You know, stitches get stitches. Okay, that's what you know. Secondly, by hook or crook, just win, baby. That's what they did. By hook or crook, just win, baby. And that was AT&T Stadium West. The fact that Jerry Jones had a huge hand in building that stadium and getting that thing done. So, you know, he made money on both sides. Win or lose, Jerry was making money, but give the Cowboys credit. I mean, this is the Cowboys team. And I know there's been so much talk about the officials and how they got it done at the end and some of the mistakes. But this is the Cowboys team that, based on last week, had every reason to feel like, here we go again. They have that, you know, impressive almost win against the Buccaneers. But since that Buccaneers game, they lost their right tackle to a drug suspension. Randy Gregory was on the COVID list. DeMarcus Lawrence broke his foot in practice out 6 to 8 weeks. Leon Lett, a coach, hurt himself in the same day in practice. You know, he had to have surgery the next day. Starting safety Donovan Wilson out for a few weeks. He didn't play. And Michael Gallup, they lost in the Tampa Bay game with injury. So this was like, okay, 2021 is going to be different. We got all our guys back, no injuries. We're going to have everybody, and we're going to win. Well, it didn't play out that way, but they won. So give them credit for winning.
It's a great win. They needed it. They beat a pretty good team, not a great team. They certainly were on the right side of some borderline calls. I could think of one right off the top of my head that changed their field position, and we'll get into why that was so significant of a call. But the first thing we got to talk about is Zeke Elliott and the game that he had. He was pretty good. It was the other guy who was even better. Tony Pollard was outstanding. Both running backs had great games. Tony Pollard was the beneficiary of some exceptional blocking, especially behind Zach Martin, who was back after missing the first game of the regular season because of the COVID situation. Clarence, I need you to do me a favor. I am not one of these idiots who thinks you need to start Tony Pollard.
No, you're an idiot that said you should trade Ezekiel Elliott, so stop it.
So if you're going to use him like that, trade him to Baltimore and actually do something with the guy. Okay. If you're just going to use him as an offensive guard. But I need somebody to talk some sense into these morons who think that they need to start Tony Pollard over Zeke. If you're going to use Zeke, use him, but don't be starting Tony Pollard. I don't care what he did against the Chargers. I
mean, the bottom line is this. It's funny because everybody, because of Zeke's money, everything has to be a referendum. You know, we had a referendum on the run game after week 1, and they told you that was a part of the game plan. Week 2, it was a product of the game plan. How the Chargers were playing, the type of team they were. They wanted to control the ball. They were very conservative with the passing game. They were intentional about that. And yes, they used both running backs. They're going to need both running backs. Tony Pollard has never been a starting running back in his life. He's never carried the load week to week to week in his life. It is smart start Zeke because not only because he does in the running game, because of his importance to the passing game, his ability to block, and certainly use Tony Pollard as a change of pace back. You hit him with Zeke, you bring Tony Pollard to do some of the stuff he does on the outside in the space. It's a perfect situation for the Cowboys, perfect formula for the Cowboys in the running game. We get all caught up with Zeke's money, and that makes people go crazy. But the Cowboys don't care about the money. The money's already paid.
Do what?
They care about the running game.
Oh, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say, and I've heard you say a lot.
It's already
of dumb
paid.
things.
I'm talking about this year as it We do it from game to game. The money is not the issue. His contract is not an issue game to game in 2021. They're going to use both back. The money's already paid. It's already guaranteed. They can't get it back. They can't trade him and save money. There's nothing you can do about that. So let that go. Let's just play football. And the Cowboys are playing football with a pretty good tandem at running back.
Okay. You hear it here first on Cowboys Overtime. The title of Clarence's next book is The Dallas Cowboys Don't Care About Money. Here's why you don't start Tony Pollard. I don't want to hear anything. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say. This is why you don't start Tony Pollard. Bill Parcells talked about this a long time ago when you and I covered the team. There's certain guys you have to make sure that you give a limited number of carries to, because if you go too much, they just are going to break down. Tony Pollard's a really nice running back. He showed a lot against the Chargers, and they had a great game. Don't give me this garbage about, oh, this was the game plan and this is why they called the game. This is why they called the game, because they started to run the ball well in the first quarter. And if you run it well in the first quarter, then you're going to stick to it. And every offensive coordinator on the planet gives up on the run about 5 bad runs into it. That's the bottom line. I don't care if you got Zeke,
I guarantee you,
Herschel Walker, or Jim Brown.
Mac Engel. They did not start trying to run the ball against Tampa because that was not part of the game plan.
Oh, that's
They started
crap.
trying to run the ball against the Chargers because they knew they could run against the Chargers. Yes, they had Zach Martin back. Yes, they had success to them. They knew that. They played 2 high safeties. The run was available to them.
Okay. If I could reach through this screen right now and smack you in the head, I would. I can't because technology won't allow me to do that yet. And apparently I might get fired. Let's go on the other side of the ball where a guy that you predicted accurately have a killer game did. Micah Parsons, their first-round rookie draft pick from Penn State, looked at times like their best pass rusher. And I don't mean like their best pass rusher without DeMarcus Lawrence and without Randy Gregory. I mean their best pass rusher even if they were in the game. Clarence, is Micah Parsons already the Cowboys' best pass rusher?
Oh, there's no question. How about this? He's the best defender. Let's be honest about it. Let's just call it what it is. Best linebacker, best pass rusher, best defensive player, one of the best players on the team. 2 games into his rookie season. Those are facts. Those are undisputable facts right now. The dude is a player. He's a centerpiece of everything they do on defense. It's crazy. It's mind-boggling the fact that 3 days into practice last week they decide they lose DeMarcus Lawrence and say, well, just move Micah Parsons to defensive end full-time this week. Full-time. He hasn't played defensive end since high school that much. Full-time this week, and he's one of the best defensive players in the league. He had 8 quarterback pressures, was tied to first in the league. He was all over the place. His defensive grade from defensive end was second in the league last week, according to Pro Football Focus, if you watch those sort of things. So by all accounts, he had a great game. He's a great player, and certainly the Cowboys, they fell into something because let's be honest, draft day last year, the Cowboys were crazy. They needed a cornerback. That's what they need to fix this defense. We're going to get one of those top 2 cornerbacks, Surtain. We're going to get one of those guys. That's what we need to stop to fix this defense. The cornerbacks were gone. They let Parsons drop into their lap. They couldn't be happier.
He looks great. And when I saw him at times, there are certain things that he reminds me of DeMarcus Ware in his first year. There's that first step that I don't care how good that tackle is. They can't get to him. They can't get a hand on him. He's so quick, and he's one of these guys who just knows where the ball is going. I mean, there's certain players who do that, either because they're so smart or just have a feel for it, unlike many other guys, and their bodies allow them to go get there and be in the middle of a play, whereas the other guy might be a step or 2 late. He looks fantastic.
Yeah, he's relentless in his pursuit. He's so fast. And so just watch him, but also understand that he started on the right side with Rashawn Slater. They said, now we're going to put him on the left side with his backup tackle, and he killed his backup tackle. So most of the rushes in the second half was against the backup tackle. He did what he was supposed to do. He killed him, unlike the Chargers, who had their best defensive lineman going against the Cowboys backup tackle, and he did nothing.
Yeah, you know what? We've got to talk about some of those guys real quickly on that offensive line. I know they were without Lyle Collins, but the interior of that line, now I know they had Zach Martin back, but Connor Williams looks pretty good. And I think for the
I
most
told you
part,
that last week, though. Remember
no,
we
you
talked about
did.
Tom
And
Williams?
he's
You
just
call
been
it
a guy.
Bevo.
Yeah, I know. We don't need to go there. I would never do that to you. But so I think he's been one of those guys who has just taken a long time to develop. But credit him and credit the Cowboys. He looks like a pretty good guard. Clarence, you and I have heard coaches lie all the time and come up with some great all-time excuses. Where does Mike McCarthy's excuse about not being able to see the clock in a state-of-the-art $1.5 billion stadium, not being able to see a clock, which prevented them from calling a timeout with 33 seconds to go in the game and potentially get kicker Greg Zuerlein into better position to kick a game-winning field goal? I've heard some doozies, but that is one of the best dog-ate-my homework excuses I've ever heard from a coach.
They messed it up. There's no question about that. And there's no excuse for messing it up. But, you're a millennial, okay? These millennials, there's so much. He's an old guy like me, okay? I need to know the clock needs to be in one place in every stadium, like in the old high school stadium in Schulenburg.
There it
right
is.
there on the scoreboard. That's where the clock is. I know where the clock is. I just want to tell you something. Have you been to SoFi Stadium?
Yeah, you and I were there together when they played the Rams last year. Thanks for remembering. We obviously shared a lot of good times. Thanks, Clarence.
It's AT&T Stadium on steroids. Okay, at that moment, you're looking at one clock, and then they're trying to get the crowd riled up, and they got all this stuff on the scoreboard. And as an old guy, I'm sure that he he double checked. We were talking to Kellen Moore yesterday, and he said the same thing, that the clock he was looking at, the blow where the clock he was looking at is like a club. And there were people eating there, and so there's like this club below the clock, and then the camera for the stadium kind of that travels moved right in front of the clock right when he was looking at it. So he had a bad view. Mike McCarthy lost his view of the clock. There's no excuses because there's 50 clocks, but you're looking at one clock. Then they got the lights going on. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. And you know what? Like they're on a headset, right? They can talk to everybody. There's like 50 guys in the booth, and they can't. Hey, fellas, any idea how much time's left in the game? We're tied down here. We might want to kick it. When he gets a heads up, we don't have any idea, guys. Sorry.
No, they were talking to people, but you're looking for yourself. That everybody has a responsibility. Clear's a horrible excuse, but I'm just telling you, that stadium for the first time, because Todd, Archer for the Morning News, not Morning News, ESPN, we were talking about it because they got so many screens. We're like, it's like you can't focus on one thing. It's so much.
It's a distraction.
It's so busy.
Yeah, and speaking of distractions, stupid and boneheads, what is special teams coach John Bones Fossil talking about or doing? Look, I don't care who you are as an NFL fan. If you know who your special teams coach is, something has gone terribly wrong. And since Mike McCarthy, who apparently, according to Clarence E. Hill Jr., is so senile he needs to know where the clock is so he can know what time to play shuffleboard.
Like it's down on the end.
Just like he needs to go back to Schulenburg to win games. Clarence, Bones has come up with some of the dumbest things I've seen, craziest things that I've seen since he's become the special teams coordinator last year.
And we're not talking about his vasectomy in training camp, right?
That's the best thing that he's done is that lecture that we saw on Hard Knocks. But on this one was an all-timer. They've got a good position for a punt return with CeeDee Lamb near the end of the first half, and he decides to send everybody wearing a blue jersey at the punter. Of course, they get a roughing the punter call. It was only because of dumb luck the Chargers didn't turn that gift into points because the kicker hit the upright near the end of the first half. Clarence, what is Bones Fossil doing? And more importantly, is he going to talk his way out of a job the way Mike Nolan, Mike didn't talk his way out of a job, the way Mike Nolan ran himself out of town last year?
Mike got hot sauce in his eye. I don't know if you saw that time he got hot sauce in his eye, but it was just perfect classic last year. He had to leave a press conference.
I forgot about that. That was a good one. That was hot sauce.
That's the Cowboys season. That's
no, but you said yesterday.
They can't see. But yeah.
Bones, hang on just a second. Bones says yesterday, hey, Cowboys fans are going to be happy. We're going after the punter. They like aggressive things. So that's great. Finally, we have a coach who is going to accommodate the fans and do play calling according to their wishes. Great.
Yeah. according to fans, we didn't want that, Bones. You took a chance. You got a 4th and 20. It's one thing if you have them backed up toward their goal line.
Absolutely.
And they got a short thing you want to go after. You're at midfield. It's 2 minutes left in the game, in the half. You have a chance to get your defense gets, we don't know how good the defense is. Everybody's ecstatic the defense got them off the field, okay?
Right.
And you get a ball back to CeeDee Lamb or a punt return or 2-minute opportunity for Dak Prescott to extend the lead. We don't want you doing anything. Don't mess it up. Your job is not to mess it up. Right. We didn't ask you to make a play. Don't make a play.
Let's go back.
Just don't mess it up.
Right, just don't screw it up. Right? That's half of what coaching is sometimes. Like, just don't mess it up. Like the play near the end of the first half when they got the ball in CeeDee Lamb's hands and he almost turned into a touchdown. Sometimes as a coach, like, here, go do something amazing with it. I can't do anything.
Right.
Let's see what you can do.
CeeDee in open field showed you what Matter could have done with the punt return.
Thank you.
Or if they're in the offense and Dak had a chance to get him the ball in a regular situation with that time on the clock, and you wouldn't have Zeke running out of bounds with 2 seconds left, which was a great play.
It was. But why is Mike McCarthy has right of refusal. He can say, Bones, shut up. We're not doing this.
Carte blanche to do whatever he wants. You go back to last year with that fake punt pass.
Yep. The Pittsburgh game.
Carte blanche to do whatever he wants.
No kidding.
It's crazy.
Does he have naked pictures of Mike that we don't know about, and that's why he has the job and carte blanche to do whatever he wants? I've got to think this act is going to get tired because even Jerry Jones, who does not disagree with his coaches, said on his radio show on 105.3 The Fan this morning that he probably wouldn't have done that. And nobody loves risks more than Jerry. I wrote it, joked about it several years ago. Jerry's the only guy who would go for it on 4th and 99. The Dallas Cowboys kick off the first of a 3-game homestand by hosting the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday night. The Cowboys are 4-point favorites. I got to tell you, I watched a lot of that Eagles game that they played on Sunday against the San Francisco 49ers in Philadelphia. I know Philadelphia was supposed to be the garbage of the NFC East. Jalen Hurts showed me more than I thought he would show, but they still couldn't score any points. Jalen Hurts couldn't punch it in until the very end. They lost at home to a decent 49ers team. The Cowboys are 4-point favorites. I don't know if they're going to cover, but I know this. The Cowboys are going to win that one.
No, they're definitely going to win that game. And as we get to fantasy football, Amari Cooper's hurt. He has some real issues. He's going to be slow to get going. CeeDee Lamb, fantasy football. CeeDee Lamb. If you want to put somebody on your roster to score you some points, CeeDee Lamb is going to score you some points.
Okay, I got you a different one. Because CeeDee Lamb's obviously going to be a great pick. If you can start him, that's a great idea. He's obviously a guy who would have been a 1st or 2nd round draft pick in any fantasy league, most likely. Going with him seems like a good choice. I think going with Zeke wouldn't be a bad choice. My surprise pick, the Dallas defense. I think given the way they have forced turnovers, now granted, turnovers come in bunches. They're +4 right now, but we saw some special plays made last week against Justin Herbert that I don't think any of us was expecting. Trayvon Diggs looks like he's going to be a real find for this team. So if you're looking at fantasy picks for the Dallas Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb is Clarence's guy. I'm thinking go with that Dallas defense. Might get you some sacks, might get you some turnovers, because what I could see happening is that Dallas grabs the lead. They make Jalen Hurts, the Eagles have to throw the ball, and they're going to cash in on some cheap turnovers. And that's the way you do it.
No question. In this game, again, this is an important game. It was important to get that win against San Diego, against the Los Angeles Chargers. They got the win. Now they have a chance to build some momentum. This is the first of 3 straight games at home. They got, again, they have the Eagles. They have the Carolina Panthers, who are better than we thought they were. And they have the revenge game for Dak Prescott against those New York Football Giants and Jason Garrett. 365 days, 364 from his injury from last year. So the Cowboys have a chance to win at home. They're not going to be easy. None of the division games aren't easy. Carolina's better than what we thought they were, but they do have some tough road games down the stretch with New England and New Orleans and stuff like that. So take care of business at home. They have a chance to really put something together and really gain some momentum right here.
All right, you heard it there. Mr. Expert himself, Mr. Clarence E. Hill Jr. For all of your Dallas Cowboys needs, be sure to check out his coverage on StarTelegram.com. For Dallas Cowboys Overtime, I'm Mac Engel. We'll see you next week.